Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 15 of Shrigleytube TV. Now, as you're probably aware, I'm very good at confusing simple situations, so if you can follow this tonight on this video, you're doing well, because got quite a bit to get through. It starts off with a 1040 dyno session, so that's the engine I did last week, and then we did the carburetors and the rebuild on the carb. So that's now in the out tray and is gone. So I finished dynoed that and recorded it. And then my mate Andy came. Andy's the guy who helped me build the workshop. He's called Andy the handyman, but he's a really clever bloke. He came and helped me tape the space frame in to get shot blasted. So we did a bit of a jokey video about taking that there. That was good. And then I've had 3 engines in this week on the dyno. 2 of them were standard. So I dynoed an 875 engine. It had no oil pressure. Basically, it had a loose bearing cap in on the cam. It was just someone's home build, and I don't think they'd understood it fully. Anyway, whatever. Look, we got to the bottom of it. I ended up taking it apart, putting it back together. We ran it, and then that went out. And then I had another 875 engine. Now that one had been a new engine by another company, and for whatever reason, I don't fully understand whether it had just not picked up the oil, or it hadn't been primed properly, or it didn't have enough, but it ran with its assembly lube that was built with for like a minute or 30 seconds and then seized solid. So the bloke brought the engine, I pulled it apart, couldn't really see an issue as to why they'd done it. It just hadn't picked up the oil, but you'll see that in the video. So I just basically put it back together again with a second-hand crank in it, and yeah, it ran sweet. So I was dead impressed with that. Everything was good. So because I had 2 875 engines, I thought we'd do a back-to-back with them on the dyno and see, you know, if what sort of power we did. So we did a bit on that. And then I had a customer with a problem with his engine, and I said, well, look, you know, best thing, just bring it down and we'll put it on the dyno together and run it. So he brought it down on Friday. So we didn't go into the problem because it's a bit controversial, but we found the problem, we fixed it, and we ran it on the dyno, and it was good as gold. So I did a bit of a video, a bit of a joke with him, and that was all good. And then it was a bit short on minutes this week, so only up to like 20 minutes worth of filming. So because we've done the space frame blasting earlier on, I had loads of footage from going back to January 2020, early this year, 23, from when I first put the space frame in the garage and started stripping it. So I put them on at the end, and it's quite a nice car. I think there'll be some people out there that will remember it, because it's obviously got quite a bit of history. So I put that on at the end. If you're still awake, you can watch that as well. Right, hope you enjoy the content, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Okay, YouTubers, remember the engine last week that we did the carburetors on and put together? Well, we're on the dyno now, finished running it in. Didn't get it done for Friday like I wanted to, and I've just been playing around with it, and it's doing exactly what I wanted to do. I've just been having an argument with myself about the best way of tuning it, and basically, if I go for a 130 main, the fueling is better at the top and it carries on going and hangs on really well. But just below 4.5, it's groggy. It's just what we call a carburetor compromise. So I've gone for a lesser main, which is a 125, and that's cleaned it up, and it works wide open throttle for virtually 2,500. It's lovely, but it doesn't have the same power at the top end. But what we've got to remember is this is what we call like a fixed torque, whereas in the car it's a climbing torque because it's going through the gears, so it doesn't get as hard a time. And often what you find is what it wants on here to do the most power is actually too much fuel when you're running in the car, because it's a climbing torque, so it goes through the RPM quicker. It actually suits the smaller jet. So I'm going to send it out with the 125. It's not going race anyway, it's a fast roader this, but he will love this thing. We'll just load it up and we'll try and get it starting there. We'll say from 4.5 it comes on now. It's really strong there. Come on, get hold of it. Dyno's being slow today. Oh, it's not going round. What have we done to the dyno? Right, I've broken the dyno to pause this. Right, sorry about that. I just disconnected the power cable to the 24 volt motor that operates the dyno, so it wasn't adjusting the load. Right, I'll load it up now. So yeah, that's that little engine concluded. The carburetor seems to be working really well. I'm really pleased with them. So we'll just go back and check a low torque figure, make sure everything's the same as it was. So 5,500 there, still holding about 70. It starts to come on there. Right, brilliant. Probably could do with a smidge more advanced, but we'll I'll make a choice on that after the video. Okay. Very exciting for me, this, chaps. This is my mate Andy. Introduce yourself, Andy.
Hi, mate.
Andy built all this. This was an empty carcass, this unit. He built all that dyno cell. I'm lucky he still speaks to me, really. But, mate, where are we going today?
I don't know, a magical mystery tour.
No, we're going to D&N Shop Blasters with the Space Frame Imp, which is like... I've been wanting to get this on the roof of his Volvo for ages. And take it to the blasters, because obviously I've been wheeling it in the garage at night and it's just a waste of time. So mate, you've hooked me here, thank you very much. I can't wait to get it on. Right, we just cracked the garage open. Andy, what do you see when you see this?
It's not a lightweight frame like you were saying, and it's got what
no,
are these?
I welded this up it's a rotisserie. So yeah. I've started, look.
Where's my rotisserie?
I wheeled it all, but I got to here and I just thought, you know what? Let's blast it. So this is the original Michael Law car that won the Wendy Wolves Championship many moons ago. I've bought a fold. I've done what you do. I bought all the bits off eBay. I bought a folder what's seized up, so I can fold all the aluminium. I've got it all there. Everything's ready to make, ready to remake, should I say? So, do you reckon that'll go on the roof of the Volvo or what?
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, mate. It's like Dougie's stock car. It was Russell's stock car, but now it's Dougie's. Yeah. Let's get it out of the way. Right, Belton, let's get it loaded up. Hope you don't mind, Andy, being on Shrigleytube TV.
Hey, am I on it now?
Yep.
How much is this going to pay me then?
Mate, you just name your hourly rate, mate. You're helping me out big time here. This is like absolute wet dream for Andy, this is. We're going to get look at this space frame on this. We've got it bolted to the top of the Volvo. Look at that, what an absolute lady this is. I've had this a while, haven't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Are we going to go on the motorway?
No. So you know what, you're driving it.
I'm driving.
I thought you were driving, I thought that's what you said. No, it's your responsibility then. I'll just pretend I don't know anything.
Well, what I was going to say was, has it had a belt at all?
No.
No?
It's not had a belt or an oil change or anything. I did, I tightened the steering rack back up because it was nearly falling off.
Andy, you're not instilling confidence in me.
And I'm thinking I might put a new horn on it at some point, but I've not decided when.
Right, well, wonderful. We'll get this off to the blasters and then I can't wait to get painting it and reassembling it after welding it.
Yeah, you're on.
Are we on? Are we videoing?
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say, this car is absolutely awesome. It's just purring, just over 2,000 RPM in 5th gear. Have we got overdrive?
Not at all.
The early ones had overdrive, you know. They had overdrive box in them. Oh, this is just bliss, mate. What do you reckon goes to the garden? About 15?
27.
Mate, see if you get the car on the roof.
Right, there you go. Let's have a look. Try not to drop your phone.
No, don't drop your phone. Your life's on that. Afternoon, YouTubers. Thought we'd have a quick chat about this little standard Hillman imp engine I've got here, and we'd do a little bit of fun where we'd see if it's producing the horsepower it left the factory with. So I've just done a bit of googling, and apparently it left the factory with 40 horsepower and 51 foot-pound of torque. So we can measure the torque and see if it's doing what it left and if it's lost any since it left the factory. So a bit of history on this engine. I do all sorts of engines, not just road ones. So this chap has ran me, he's got a road going imp and he's got no oil pressure. So I just said on the phone, look, you know, bring it down, we'll have a look at it. I suspect it's worn out and it'll want the crank grind, bearings, pump, etc, you know. Anyway, he turned up and we started looking at it, and I'm thinking, not a lot wrong with this, you know. He'd already took the sump off it and the head off it just to aid moving it around. And when it arrived, I'm looking at the bearings. I said, there's not a great deal wrong with this, you know. Anyway, he starts to tell me that when he took the head off, one of the cam bearing caps was loose. So I was like, right, okay, that could be where your oil pressure's been going. So I said, I tell you what, we'll just put it back together. A bit of a gasket set, a fresh head gasket. I've not changed anything. I put some new seals in the valve guide oil seals because they'd gone hard. So I put some new seals in it and just checked the shims. New head gasket. It runs sweet as a nut. I love these standard imp engines. They're so sweet. Anyway, that's where we're at. I've run it up, doing everything it's supposed to do, and I thought, oh, we could make a video about this, and we'll just see. Now I've just done a little test, so I know how much torque it's got. It's very close, put it that way, but we'll do it together on the video. So I'll just turn the pumps on and the fans, and I'll join you again in a minute. Right, this is the torque figure here. That's the torque, 52.47 there, yeah? Right, so we just run to 4,000 in the second part of the video there. In the first part, I just had to go and turn a switch to put the pump on because I could see the RPM was getting up to like 4,300, and I wanted to see what it was at 4 because I think that's where they measured peak torque on these. So we were seeing, if you could see the blue needle, it was waving between sort of 47, 48 foot-pounds. So 50 years, never had a rebuild. I mean, this was on the original pistons, original bearings, not been touched. I don't think it's come out of a high mileage car. I think the chap did say it wasn't the right engine for the car, but yeah, absolutely good as gold. So dead pleased with that. I'll ring the customer and tell me have it back, and we've got another one to put on, which is the one which I've not even, no, we'll have to sort that out. I've got all the videos to put on. I'll do that next. There's a videos of an engine that had no oil pressure from fire up and it picked up and seized, so we'll cover that next and then we'll run it. Evening YouTubers, welcome back. Monday morning for me here now, but it'll be Sunday evening for you guys. So this is the beginning of the week. I've got a little job here which I'm going to share with you. It's not an engine I've built. It's been like I think a bit of a homebrew by the customer, by a chap, not a customer. And unfortunately, it only ran for about 30 seconds and it seized solid. So I thought we could pull this apart together and see what's gone wrong. I have no idea what I'm going to find, but I'll get the camera set up on the tripod and I'll try and talk my way through it, and we'll see if we can work out what's happened to it. Right, okay chaps, just on with taking this little engine apart that's had a seizure, and two things I've got a bit of a concern about is, one is the oil is really clean. Two is, I don't know if you can see, this is the oil filter housing. It is completely bone dry, so no oil has actually gone through the pump and circulated in the engine, which is probably why the engine only ran for 30 seconds before seizing up. So what concerns me is, did he have an oil light, did he have an oil pressure light, or a switch or gauge? Was it wired up incorrectly? Did the light go out and he thought it was okay? I don't know what's happened here, but we're going to pull the sump off together now and see if we can understand what's happened. Oh dear. Oh dear. Looks like it's got rust in it. The hell's that? Not very clean. So, oh good gracious. Yeah. I've always had some moisture or something. God, what's that? I can't believe for 1 minute it was built with that in it. I don't know if you can quite just see it. It's on in the bottom in this corner here. It's like really clean oil, and we've got what can we describe as rust or something. But that must have been in this. I don't know where that's come from because. Right, okay. Let's have a look at the oil pump and see what we see there. See if the oil's actually got to the oil pump stage. Don't appear to have. So what's going on? What's going on here? Why has it not picked up the oil? This is very strange. Has it not had enough oil in it? Pump looks good, to be fair. Very dry though. That's never had any oil through it, that. That's bone dry. Right, well, we'll have to take some big end caps off and have a look. I'll just pause it for a second. Right, well, I'm a bit stumped here. Not often I'm stumped, but it would appear that this engine has run with no oil pressure for some time. So there's no oil at all in the engine. It hasn't gone round the oil system. It's still dry, and you can see the sort of splatter that's come off the big end. That's the assembly loop from when it was built. So I think what we're gonna have to do, it still sees solid. I suspect it's picked up on a piston, so we'll have to take the head off next, and all the mains are scuffed where they've had no oil, but I don't think that's going to be the end of the crankshaft. I'm hoping the crank will still be okay once it's had a good clean and polish. It's going to have to come right to pieces this now anyway. Right, I'm not sure exactly what to say about this engine other than it's not very well. Now, the reason why it was seized up was number 4 big end had picked up the bearings are had no lubrication whatsoever, so it's just picked up and grabbed. Hasn't spun the shell, so the rod will be okay. The crank, I think we'll just put that to one side and start with another one. And the pistons, a few shiny marks where they started to pick up. Basically what's happened is this engine's never had any oil pressure. It's never had any oil feed. It's been a fresh build by somebody. They've put assembly lube on it, which has saved it and helped it to run for 30 seconds or whatever. But obviously without any oil going through it, it's just killed it. I mean, you can see this splatter. I don't know where all this moisture's come from, but the bores aren't looking great at all. It's had new rings in it. It's had new bearings. There's nothing wrong with the build. I just don't know what's led to this happening. But anyway, what I'm going to propose is we give him 2 options. One will be to completely rebuild the engine with new pistons, fresh bore and crank grind, etc. And the other one will be a plaster patch just to get him on the road, which will probably involve a crank and some bearings and a bit of a light hone, because not everyone's got big budget on these jobs, so we have to bear that in mind. Obviously I can't guarantee just putting a plaster patch on it, but I would run it and make sure it was okay for in the dyno first. Anyway, I'll get on with that and we'll see where we end up. The seized up engine, and I spoke to the customer and he basically said to me, you know, what do you think? And I said, well, I think because it's been rebuilt by somebody and it has got new rings, etc., we'll have a bit of a measure up and we'll possibly just put a crank in it, a good second-hand crankshaft, some bearings, and just let's get a tune out of it and see how it runs. Obviously, you can see the oil's never even made it to the top end. All of it's like new, or not like new, it wants checking over. It's good second-hand, we'll call it. So I'm going to build it together and get a run out of it on the dyno, and if it is no good, it is no good. It's got a few water stains in the bores, but they have honed up generally, not too bad. I just give them a quick glaze bust. So I'm going to put the crank in, put the pistons in, and then we'll get back to this on the dyno and see what sort of tune it makes. Right, this is the engine then that had the seizure because it didn't have any oil pressure from startup. So I've put it back together with a good second-hand crank in it and replaced the bearings, etc. Fresh head gasket, nothing else. I didn't change anything else. It has already been rebuilt, this engine. The head looked good. A few water stains in the bores, but nothing to write home about. So I put it on the dyno, it runs sweet as a nut, and then I thought I could do an interesting comparison here, because the engine I've just run, this other one that's here, has got, you can see, it's exactly the same spec, but it's got a standard cast iron 4:1 manifold, and this is an exactly the same spec. It's a 171 Mark II head, Mark II cam, Solex carburettor, and it's got a I think it's a Jan speed, quite a nice little 4:2:1 exhaust. So that's the only difference in the two engines. Now we've just obviously done the torque thing with the other engine, and it measured 48 foot-pound, and I'm interested now to do the same with this engine with you guys, and we'll see if it's anywhere close or even better than the other engine. So I'll run it up now and we'll see what happens. Right, so that was quite an interesting result, that. Just through having a nice exhaust manifold, the engine had gained nearly, was it possibly nearly 5 foot-pound of torque. So we were seeing maybe 52, 51 foot-pound there, which is what the engine would have had from factory standard. And this is standard bore, everything's standard about it, there's nothing been changed. So yeah, another one for the out tray. Right, YouTubers, we've got a special visitor in the workshop here. This is Henry Mitchell. This is his engine, which is poorly. It's one that I've done in recent times. Maybe was it a year, 3/4?
Just about a year.
Just about a year. So yeah, it's gone on to 3 cylinders, and we're not sure. Well, we weren't sure why, but it does have a clearance issue by the looks of things. So we're going to investigate that together, and we'll put that on the YouTube. But I wanted to say about this man here. Now, you were the competition secretary for the Imp Club.
Yeah, about 20 years ago.
Yeah, then he had kids and a break, but he's back again now.
Back into the fold with him.
Yeah, so I remember my first ever sprint. I bet you can't remember the year, can you? It was all...
It was 90s, wasn't it?
90s.
93, 94 maybe?
Wow, no way. Well, I remember your name, Henry Mitchell, and I remember booking in for that sprint. I think I was like 17 or something. And it was just, I enjoyed it, really. My Imp was green at the time. I was number 22.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in a Ginetta. I borrowed my brother's Ginetta, so I was competing in it.
Did I beat you up the hill?
Well, I know you spun off going down the hill to the start.
Mate, whoa. My editing skills aren't that good. I can't remove that bit.
But I managed to spin off going up the hill. You did beat me, yeah.
Did I?
I was in a 998 Ginetta, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's embarrassing, isn't it?
Was mine turbocharged then?
No, I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't at that stage, was it? I think that was after my college, that was, because I did it for me, the final year of my HNC. But right, well, that's great, Henry. So what we'll do is we'll pull the cam out and we'll have a look and try and understand why we've lost our clearances. I can't see that it's soft seats because the other ones are too correct. So something's gone wrong this end of the engine. I don't know what yet. We'll have a look. It's in and it's running really well. So we've just been doing a few squeezes on it, and we've actually put some extra fuel in, haven't we? We've gone up a jet size. So obviously the engine's fully bedded in now. So it's from when it last ran on the dyno. So yeah, that was interesting. It's doing about 75 foot-pound of torque, and we thought we'd do the last run together with you guys on the camera. So if you look out, you can see I've took the exhaust off so that we're doing what I like to call an actual run. This is how the engine is going to be in the car, exhaust length exactly as it should be, so we know that the fuel in, etc. We know the power it did before when it was connected, so any compromises we can see if it makes a change. So I'm really excited because I've just said to Henry, I've never been to 11,000 RPM on the dyno before, and he said, well, if you want to do it with mine, I'll be guided by you. Is that right?
Nah.
Right, Henry, you take over with the camera.
Okay, so.
And we'll make some noise. We'll just load it up at 4 or 5 there. It's only 68 foot-pound. I'm just backing the dyno off. 6, just gets to 14 on it. Did before. go past 8. But yeah, basically that's about what we're going to see out of an R20. A good solid 85.
R21.
R21, sorry. Good 85 horsepower there. You power your clan round to championship victory.
Very good, yeah.
Right, thanks very much for holding the camera. Right, YouTubers, I thought I'd make a little video on this Space Frame Imp. Originally, this car was owned by a chap called Michael Law, who raced in the Wendy Wolves Championship back in the day. Now, during lockdown, or before lockdown, I was able to go and view this car after it was put on eBay, and it's basically been in storage ever since in various places. I've not touched it. This is as I got it. I've actually all I've done is steam clean it. But it's took till now to get myself straight with one thing and another, with work and kids arriving and things like that. So it's now in my garage at home in my garden, and the plan is to I'm gonna restore it, but I'm loving the fact that it's been unmessed with for like 35 years or whatever in a chicken shed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it all apart. Well, let's say all apart. All the bits that are like rubber and stuff like that. Replace them all, sort all the brakes out. Give the main cage a bit of a lick of black hammerite or smooth right. And I'm not going to get dead involved with it because I don't want to lose that very special sort of... I mean, look at that sticker there. What does it say? RAC 1982. Advertising permit. I love it. It's got a proper Smith's mechanical rev counter there. A real nice piece from back in the day. The seat, oh yeah, looks real safe. Don't think it's got a date stamp on it. But for what I want to do with it, I know they'll never let me race it, you know, in on the circuit. But I've got the other one, the Rodbond Motorsport car for that. This one is just purely going to be to rock up at a hill climb somewhere and have a blast up the hill, and just so it's back together and in use. Got an engine for it, got a 4-speed dog box for it, so there's no reason why. What I don't want to do is get really involved and take it to a million pieces. I just want to touch on, make it half safe. Obviously, there are people out there saying, oh, the tubes will be rusty inside, blah, blah, blah. It's still safer than a motorbike, so we'll not sweat about that. If it comes apart, it comes apart. If we crash it, we crash it. Hopefully we'll walk away from it. But yeah, it's a proper bit of kit, this. Imagine this back in the day. Well, I don't know, is it Formula 3 suspension or something? But this was the real deal. So I won't be posting this video for a year because I'm not going to do anything on YouTube until it's up and running. But I will do it, and I'll look back at this video and probably think, crikey, you're mad. Okay, thanks for now. Just making another little video before we take it apart to show the car in its naked state without its fiberglass roof on. I've turned the Sierra into an 80s, 90s max power mobile with its bad boy body kit, Stiletto body kit. So you can see it's actually quite a lot smaller without the body kit on it. But it's very simple, can't weigh much. But, this will be a good reference video for how it all goes back together when I've forgotten in a year's time. Okay. Right, January 2023, 2nd of January. I thought I'd do a bit of an update as I haven't done anything on this with the YouTube for a while. In fact, I've not uploaded anything yet, but there is some other videos that will be on before this one. This is obviously the Michael Law car, which I've took home and started taking it apart really, just to see what state it's in. And like I said in the other video that you've not seen yet, I'm just going to give it a brush of paint. I've really enjoyed doing the work on it. It's like brain dead work. You just get the wire wheel going, flick all the old paint off, give it a rub. We've got some smooth right to paint back on top. Oh, this is my favourite bit here. This fuel tank. Bearing in mind, this car was took off the circuit in its last RAC permit was 1982. I don't believe it's done anything since. But it's still got the petrol in the tank, and it smells amazing. That proper old car petrol smell that you don't ever find anymore. So just been pulling it apart. The radiator's there, that was easily identifiable as a Golf one. I'm going to put it back to being a Golf one. I'm not going with the posh alley one. I just want to keep it absolutely as it was. Anti-roll bars there. I want to try and get some of this stuff re-chromed. Obviously, discs will want doing, and all the shock was always reconditioning. Brake pipes. Obviously, the Masters want more than a kit in them. But it's all there, you know. So I've rubbed down the some of this metal at the back, and you know it's come up all right. It's quite nicely put together, really. It's all brazed and whatnot. I'm braving it here in the garage. There's a scrapping block there holding the back up. But I have got a new friend in the garage, Mr. Heater. So that's keeping the job nice and warm, or stopping me from freezing up. So yeah, we're going to plod on. Hopefully, the next video I make will have some actual progress, maybe some paint on the car, new brake lines in, things like that. I've got the engine and box at work itching to go in it. So that's what's keeping me fired up, is the thought of getting it running and maybe taking it to Jersey in end of May for the hill climb. Okay, cheers for now. Welcome to Sunday night in the garage again. Bit of progress, which I thought I'd report on. For those of you that are interested, painted all the back end, just in smooth right. I was quite impressed with that. Rubbed it down, given it a few coats. I'm not too fussed about all this powder coating malarkey. That'll do me, that. Bit of a problem though, because I brought the seat from the workshop to try in, because the original one's made out of expanding foam and cardboard. So I thought I'd put a decent seat in it just in case they let me race this, you know. Anyway, I started looking at where I could weld in the pieces to make the seat mounts good, and I thought the floor's awful. I didn't want to touch it. I just wanted to give it a bit of a sprucing and a bit of black paint, but really I need to make sure there's no corrosion on the undersides of these square bars where the moisture will have been trapped between the aluminium, and obviously it's been drilled as well and riveted. So I'm going to roll it on its side and take the place of the aluminium off the bottom and replace it with new. So I started to unpick it all, or drill all the rivets out. And this is the side impact protection system, not developed by Volvo, but similar idea I think. But it has actually got quite a lot of steel inside there. You know, it has got a section, and the cage and everything. I mean, this is just surface rust. I think all that's in quite good nick. So the plan is remove all that. Might make a few new panels, try and reuse as many as I can, you know, unpick them carefully. We'll get them in the blaster, maybe soda blast them, and then get them back on again with a new base. So my dreams of putting my brake pipes in and putting my engine and gearbox in are on hold for a bit, because we have to roll it on its side to do all this. But you know what, it'll make a nicer job at the end. Took the brake masters off. Yeah, I think they've seen better days. Never mind. And yeah, everything else looks good. So we'll see where we can get to in the next few weeks.